Hello everybody and welcome to my first episode in the series Anyone Can Draw. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now and I'm really happy that I've finally got round to actually being able to do it. The point of this series is quite self-explanatory. I'm just going to be giving you loads of little hints and tips on how you can draw like a professional artist. Alongside doing realistic drawings, which is what I specialise in, I'm also going to be going into some animated animals as well. So for example, the logo for this is Remy from Ratatouille, and that's where I got the inspiration from, because if you've watched Ratatouille you do know that the motto behind that film is that anyone can cook, and I thought it would be nice to adapt that into anyone can draw. So that's the purpose of this series. I'll be doing, like I said, lifelike animals and animate animals as well. So if there's anything you do want in particular me to draw or teach you how to draw or give you some hints and tips on it, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'm going to read all the comments and I'll try and do as many of your recommendations as possible. I'm going to be doing tips on drawing itself, tips on shading, using different materials, and all of the materials I'm going to be using are just going to be very basic materials that everybody has around the house. It's going to be nothing fancy, just standard paper, standard pencils, and it's just basically giving everybody the chance to learn how to draw really well without having to spend a lot of money. And especially at the moment with COVID-19 going on, it's especially hard to get hold of those types of materials. So I think it's good sometimes, even for professionals, to just take it back to basics and just go back to where it all started. So this is what this series is going to be. So let's get on with the first video. So the first lesson today is going to be on how to draw an elephant, and this is going to be simply by using the grid technique. This is a technique I've used for many years now, and I do know a lot of professional artists that still do it. I use it as well when I do my pet portraits. I find it really useful to make sure that you get the proportions of the animal correct. Basically today we're just going to use a 20cm by 20cm grid. There'll be 4 by 4 in terms of the squares, and each square will be 5 centimeters. This is a standard size, so it will fit on a standard piece of printing paper, so again everybody has access to it. In terms of what you need to create this drawing, really simple. You just need a piece of paper, anyone will do. For this video I've just used a standard printing page. You just need a HB pencil, that's just your standard school pencil, a pencil sharpener and a rubber, and a 30cm ruler. Mine was 30 centimeters, but David thought it was a flexible ruler, so he snapped it. I do have the video somewhere, it's quite funny. But yeah, so this is all that you need, just nice, easy, simple things that everybody will have lying around the house. So once you've got all your materials, it's time to start getting that grid drawn. So first things first, you need to do a 20cm by 20cm grid, and this basically just makes it a lot easier when you're actually blowing the image up to draw it. So create that 20cm by 20cm square. Once you have your square, you need to go along and you need to start drawing out the squares themselves. So it's going to be a 4 by 4 grid. So each square is going to be 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. So all you need to do is just mark off, put your ruler at 0 and just mark off 5, 10, 15 and 20 centimeters all the way around your grid, and then just draw those lines up so that a 4 by 4 grid is formed. And then once that's sorted, you're ready to start actually going ahead and doing your elephant. So let's get into drawing this elephant. So basically my massive recommendation is to always start with the head. Whenever you look at a picture, well, whenever I look at a picture anyway, I always am drawn to the head, and quite a lot of the comments that I receive of portraits are the eyes and the detail in the face, because that's obviously where the animal's got its most character. So you're going to want to start with the head, and you're just going to basically want to do a very light outline, following those line of the grid patterns. I will have the elephant itself linked below so that you can obviously copy it as you go along. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that this initial sketch is very, very light because they're just guidelines. You will end up erasing them as your drawing progresses. It's just basically to give you a little bit of an understanding of where the head and the ears are and the trunk. Obviously you will be putting a lot more detail in later on, so always start with the head. That's my big thing. I will obviously adjust the camera quite a lot throughout this video just to give you the best possible view, also giving you my perspective as well rather than a top-down approach, just so again it make a little bit more sense to you. This is my first non-animated elephant as well. I have drawn little animated elephants for greetings cards and just, you know, if I've been a little bit bored on a rainy day, but this is my first real elephant that I've drawn, so this is a little bit of a learning curve for myself as well. One thing I will say in relation to the grid technique is to always draw the animal as a whole. And what I mean by that is don't just limit it to the square. So for example, the top square 3 along, I've got the top of the elephant's head, so his forehead and a little bit of his ear. If I was just to focus on that, yeah, you're going to get a lot of detail in that square, but there's 2 reasons I don't like doing that. First of all, you could invest a lot of time into that one square, and then when you go to do the rest of the squares, you might find that that's actually the completely wrong proportion that you've done, so you've wasted a lot of time and your drawing isn't going to look realistic, so you just have to go back and remove it all. But the main option, the main thing that bugs me about it when people do that is you're not actually really learning to draw that way. So the grid method is there so that you can get the right proportions, and if you're just focusing on one square, come the time when you are able to draw without a grid, you're going to get a little bit stuck, and it's not, drawing it square by square is not going to help you in the long run. You want to be able to learn from basics. So now that you've got the basic outline, the big number 1 rule now is to stop and sharpen that pencil. Make sure at this stage your pencil is really, really nice and sharp and you've got a very fine point on it. It does help. Drawing with a blunt pencil does not help at all, unless you're doing a very widely shaded piece. So for example, later on when you're coming to do the shading on it, you might benefit from a blunt pencil, but when you're doing the fine details like this, you need that sharp pencil, otherwise your drawing just won't look as highly realistic as it could if you were to have a nice sharp pencil. So all we're doing now is basically using those rough guidelines that we've just drawn and just pressing down a little bit heavier now, going over the top and really getting those details in. So the creases and the folds in the ears, all the shadows, all the eyes and the tusks, a little bit of the mouth, the underskin of the belly, just making sure that the full elephant is nice and highly detailed so that when it comes to shading it later on, you've really got a good understanding of where that skin or the fur lies and where those shadows are going to come in, so where that light's shining and where it's really going to knock those shadows into place. This video is mainly just on the drawing. I am going to do more in the future that are based on shading and using different materials and sharing my strengths and weaknesses of different materials and what I find works best. Again, it's all going to be nice simple products. You don't have to go out and spend an absolute fortune on these products. It's just going to be things that you've got lying around the house. So just make sure that that pencil's nice and sharp and that you're really getting into those details. I'm going to let this video play on now. Obviously it's my drawing of this elephant that you are hopefully going to copy. Like I say, make sure you're constantly using that reference photo as well that I have linked in the description. If it helps, you can either have it open on a computer or you can print it off and have it side by side. Just make sure that those details are really getting in, because when it comes to shading, that's really going to benefit you. But yeah, so I'm going to stop talking now and I'm going to let this video play on so you can copy how to draw this elephant, and we'll catch up in a little bit. As I said earlier as well, this video wasn't necessarily about the shading, it was more about getting the perspective right on the elephant, but here is the final result. Obviously you don't have to shade it like this if you don't want to. You can make like a henna pattern maybe on the elephant. I know that's quite trendy at the moment. You could do it in coloured pencils, felt tip pens, crayons, whatever you'd like to use. I will obviously in the future be doing videos on shading using just plain graphite pencils, but I do hope you've enjoyed this video and that you've maybe learnt something from it today. If you do have a go at this elephant, please tag me in it on Instagram and Facebook, or post a picture in the comments down below. The YouTube, Facebook and Instagram link are all the same. It's at Paw Prints by Grace, and it'd really mean a lot if you could share your pictures with me. So yeah, I hope you all have a good day and that everybody's keeping safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!